I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, going into our council activity reports, I met last week with AMPI along with Tarek and Neil. We had, I think, a pretty productive chat about what's going on. Essentially, they're aware of the issues with the BODs going into our ponds. They're aware that it's overloading everything. They are willing to work with us on a solution. I think we've been in ongoing discussions, as I understand from Tarek, but I'll let Dan or Tarek correct me if that's wrong. They also talked about the fact that they have an agreement that's coming to an end here in September. That agreement allows them to use some of our surplus BOD usage. We made it clear to them that the sort of consensus we got from the council was that we're going to want to renegotiate that and likely increase the surcharges if they can't get the pretreatment plant on schedule. They would, of course, like to keep the surcharges the same. And I think Neil and I were pretty clear in that that's going to be a council decision ultimately as to what happens, but we thought that the council would probably be okay with keeping the surcharge levels the same if there are definite timelines. And if those definite timelines aren't met, then the surcharges would increase by 2 or 3 times or whatever number came through. So I'm hopeful that there's an understanding and working together on that. I left feeling optimistic, and I hope that that optimism is not misplaced. Otherwise, I was at night to unite with folks. That's all I've got. Yeah, that's it for me. Turning it down to Paul.
I had a budget and finance meeting last Tuesday. I believe it was, and we came up with a number I think that everyone's going to be happy with. And then I went,
Not everyone. Bill is here.
okay. All right. And then I went to
Appreciate you keeping us on our toes, Bill. I do.
Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities meeting in Wilmer.
Did you bike?
How was that? I couldn't make it.
Me neither. I was bummed. It sounded fun.
That's okay, I ate everyone's food. So we're good.
But did you bike for everyone? Did you bike enough distance for everyone?
No, I canceled the bike ride.
Really? Oh, well, then I'm not as bummed I couldn't make it, I guess. It sounded fun.
Okay. All right, Megan?
I was at Night to Unite as well. It was a lot of fun as usual, and I've had a further meeting to plan the providers event for the Rural Child Care Innovation Program. So that's been exciting. So that's about it for me.
All right, thank you. Neil?
Did the MPI meeting with Jim and Wayne that the mayor went over. I was at the Night to Unite, attended the last 2 concerts at Vets Park. Going very well. It's a very nice thing that happens. And tonight's my birthday, so just showing my commitment by being here instead of out having fun. I'm a senior citizen now, but I still don't need the auto pen.
Because it's your birthday, I'm just going to let it go.
I know.
Donna?
All right, I also attended the Night to Unite, and I did not make it to the Budget and Finance meeting, which I have somebody that will be texting me reminders for that meeting.
All right, I'll do that.
No, Dawn already committed. Thank you, everybody can text. And that's all.
Okay. On to department head reports. Dan?
We had a park board meeting last week. The focus of that was to visit about trees and tree trimming, which we are due to do a bunch throughout town, so we wanted to refine the rules and make sure how we progress with that. We plan to do a whole bunch this fall. We just had a public works board meeting where we reviewed some of the things you'll see tonight in the agenda. Purchased a loader from Boss Trucking for $80,000, so that was the last piece of equipment, which would bring us in $40,000 under what I requested from the board and the council. So that's good, we should be all set up there. We close on our building on the 20th, so we can start to move things over and go through them, get them DOT'd and ready for fall. Rain has hampered our irrigation methods, but we've been working hard at it. The guys been doing a great job. We still got to get rid of 23 million gallons a week to meet our goal for freeze up. So we're working hard at that. And the AMPI has kept us busy. We've had that fund recirculating from our ponds into the aerated pond to try to bring some life in there. And then we brought Team Lab in to do some bio-augmentation, to put bugs into our pond to get it to come to life. We saw life today. We got the DO up. Had been running at 0.2 and 0.4 for a month or more. We got it up to 4. So things are coming to life. We had some nice white foam. Reintroduced some flow back into the system for 3-4 hours, and the DO dropped back down, so we closed it back off. We'll let it regenerate itself overnight. Hopefully tomorrow morning things will look a lot better. So Targ and I had a meeting today with AMPI and their engineer from Probst, and we visited about more bio-augmentation, not only for the aerated ponds, but for the city's backwater ponds, to try to address the extra loads we've been receiving.
Dan, before I forget, and I apologize if I'm putting you on the spot, so if we need to just schedule the time, let me know. But I was in Queen Bee's the other day and I overheard a guy up at the bar. I suspect he was talking loudly enough so that I would overhear, but not directly talking to me, about how we shouldn't have bought Sterling trucks from the state, and calling us some unkind names for doing so. I guess I don't know what the concern is, but I thought I wanted to discuss with you, and I apologize, it slipped my mind until now.
People's belief, because they discontinued Sterling trucks, so they don't think you can get parts. You can get parts, maybe not necessarily Sterling parts, if you need a specific mirror or a shifter knob that specifically is for a Sterling. But you can get brakes, leaf springs, you can get all the parts that make the truck run through other dealers. So all the mechanical of it, it's the aesthetic things that you wouldn't be able to replace specifically as a Sterling part.
Okay.
But there are aftermarket parts readily available, and I checked into that thoroughly before we purchased those Sterlings.
Thank you, Dan. Anybody else have any questions for Dan? Okay, Tark.
All right, I don't have anything else to add on the AMPI thing. I was at the Park and Tree meeting. That went well, as Dan mentioned. The Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities, I thought that was very beneficial because the organization lobbies on our behalf, and one of the things they did lobby for successfully was to keep our local government aid the same. There was calls to cut it statewide this year, but I think their efforts were successful, and we will end up getting slightly more than we got last year, so that was a positive. Budget and finance as well, like Paul said, we had a budget that we will be recommending to council, and then of course Night to Unite, which I think went well, despite the rain.
Any questions for Tarek? Okay. And Bill, I think you're here for the open forum, is that what you said?
I am.
Okay, so let me just give my little spiel while you take the podium, if you wouldn't mind. So I'll now open the public forum period. If anyone who wishes can just stand up at the podium. I have dedicated up to 10 minutes for the forum, and time will be even divided between Bill and anybody else who wants to speak. We're not going to take action on anything raised. We may have questions or may otherwise respond, but we won't decide or take a vote. Anything raised may be referred to city staff or an appropriate committee. So, go ahead, Bill.
Bill Fuchs, Painesville. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to follow up. There have been issues in the past, as you all know, regarding signing in to this meeting. Unfortunate, but that's not what I'm really here to hammer on, but the idea that, it just struck me that having to sign in and put my name, address, and phone number on a piece of paper to watch my elected officials govern, just doesn't seem very free or American. Especially the fact that if all I'm doing is watching it in person, that level shouldn't be any different than if I watch it, I assume it's live streamed or somewhere on virtual or on social media. So I would, I just did I tried to do some research. I reached out to the State of Minnesota Administrator's Office, and asked them for some guidance on, or some opinion on whether it was a requirement, and if it was, to kind of outline the legal framework or the statute or something that would require that. Unfortunately, the state did not respond back to my emails. I reached out to the League of Minnesota Cities. Am I saying that right, Tarek? League of Minnesota. Took a little pushing and shoving and prying, but eventually she responded back saying she couldn't cite a specific ordinance or law or framework that required that, other than to say that, basically city councils can run their meeting however they want. What I would like to do is stand here politely and ask the city council to reconsider having to sign in at the front door to simply watch a city council meeting. It seems like it would be much more appropriate to have that sign-up sheet right here, and to participate in a public meeting, I fully expect to have to identify myself and identify whatever information you're requesting. But I would just like to politely ask the council to reconsider the requirement of having to sign in, give your name, address, and phone number to simply watch a council meeting.
I have an update for you if you're ready for it.
Please.
I did reach out to the League of Minnesota Cities, and they said there's no state statute for it. It's really up to the city. Looking at our bylaws as well, it's yes. There is, if the council chooses not to have people sign up, only people who choose to speak in public to sign up, what you're suggesting is correct. That can be possible. So there's nothing limiting us from doing that.
So I realize that you aren't to take action on this, but whatever requirement is required to make that change, I would much appreciate it.
Yeah, and Tarek raised it with me whenever you must have brought it to his attention, and I think I
I
said.
did, and thank you. I did bring it to Tark's attention, and he was, as always, wonderful to work with.
Yeah, so the note that Tarek passed me was just to circle the speakers must sign up. But I think what I told him is, I'm fine without it, because I agree with you. I think I can watch it online, nobody knows who I am. And just because we have done something a certain way for the last 50-odd years doesn't mean we need to continue it. So I would be all in favor of the council taking this up for a discussion point to decide at a future meeting.
Okay.
Or if Tarek is staff or city administrator, you can just do it. I defer to you.
Okay?
Wonderful.
I'll take care of
I
it.
appreciate your willingness to hear that idea. Yeah, you're right. Sometimes, because it was always done that way, it feels like it should always be that way, but it feels rather intrusive, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So that's the end of that. I will also, since I'm here and I have everyone's attention, I will ask again for people to reconsider spending $4 million on a library. Again, that concept, I was just, for the fun of it, I was talking to my children about libraries, and they're like, they still have those? That concept, and I have to, the best part, I hope I'll probably offend somebody, but I offend people all the time, but I looked at the Painesville Press, at the picture in the press of the folks with the new sign, and other than the government employees and library employees, if you go back and look at that, that is the demographic that still thinks we need a library. And I'm going to just guess that the median age is about 68 to 72. And and then somebody talked about internet access, but this next generation, the next several generations, they don't even use computers. It's all on their phone. The thought of actually using a computer, they kind of chuckle at too. So I just would encourage people to reconsider or give some thought to the fact that library usage in general is going down, and the demographic of people who feel strongly that we need a public library is aged. So thank you for your time.
On my reports, I apologize, I forgot one thing. I did get a phone call earlier today from Roger Torberg. He expressed some concern about the city selling that old pumper truck that's listed for sale for surplus, and what that would do to the city's ISO rating. So I did reach out to Brad Melhop and Mike Stern from the fire department, talked to them about it a little bit. And simply put, selling that pumper truck will lower our ISO rating. But Brad has been in careful discussions with the ISO auditor, and we are doing other things that are not currently accounted for that will keep us at the same rating. So if all we did was sell the truck, yes, we would drop down. But because we've been doing other things that aren't currently accounted for, we will stay at the same level. So I had initially said, well, maybe we should talk about tabling the sale of that truck until we get a better understanding, because that could really jack up industrial and business insurance rates. But knowing that we are going to stay at the same level, I'm not as concerned about it, and I'll get back to Roger tomorrow and fill him in. So there's that, in case Roger reaches out to any other person on the council. So moving ahead then, we have the consent agenda, includes the minutes on page 1, vouchers on page 2 totaling $712,012 and a penny, gambling application, and a couple of liquor store clerk resignations. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Hersberg, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. All right, payment estimate number 2 for the liquor store. Who wants to talk to me about this?
I'll mention it, same as last time, until the bond proceeds come through, we will be paying any liquor store bills out of our fund that we have, so that's all that this is for. It will be reimbursed once we get the bond proceeds, which are expected to be before the end of this month.
And that building is coming along nicely. They're well, the roof is sheathed. They're putting fabric up on it today, so. All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve the payment estimate.
I'll move to approve payment estimate number 2 in the amount of $133,712.50 payable to Project 1 Construction, Inc. for work completed through August 1st, 2025.
It's a motion by Brick. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Potter. All those, or any further discussion, excuse me. Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, VFD, Dan, or Tarek, I guess it says you'll talk about it.
The VFD?
I'm on the wrong page.
No, VFD is Dan.
That's what I thought.
I ran through at the last council meeting, purchase of VFD, price got changed. We were able to go out and get 2 quotes, and Preferred is actually the company that we use for most of our IT stuff now. They came in lower price than Automatic. So you have the 2 quotes, I recommend we go with Preferred.
And the Public Works Board is recommending as well.
What we have in our packet is from March of this year. Is that quote still good?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so then I'm looking for a motion to approve the new VFD from Preferred Controls in the amount of $14,575. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion to approve purchase of a new VFD from Preferred Controls, amount of $14,575.
Motion by Hersberg is stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion?
Do we clarify what it says in the administrator comments there, where the funds are going to come from?
That'll come from water and sewer capital.
Okay. Is this,
Right, 'cause, so we have on here that it's going to come from the surcharges
Yes, that
It
was,
seems to me like this is more of a capital expenditure rather than a surcharge,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Wait, yeah, you're right.
which part? It says, I know it says that, but where are the funds coming from for this? From capital or
From
from?
what AMPI pays monthly, not the surcharge you're thinking of, they pay a monthly
Maintenance fee.
maintenance fee.
Oh, okay, all right.
Got it. Okay. Any further questions on that or anything else? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, partial release of real property for AMPI. Tarek, now,
Yep, these two documents we had on the last agenda and we tabled till we had a discussion with AMPI. They're trying to close on the properties so they can put it on a road this year, and the purpose of this document really is to remove the liens that we have on the property. We acquired it, I guess, and maybe Chuck has more history on it, with a grant, and we just have to make sure that that's clear.
Yeah, anytime you utilize some of the grant funding, you have to put a deed restriction on the property, so this is releasing those deed restrictions against that part of the property.
and like Tarek said, we did table this based on the conversations that we had with AMPI. I at least am comfortable with moving forward. They expressed what I think is a tentative willingness to work with us. There's a desire from them to have the city operate this plant, and they understand that if they want us to operate it, they'd better build it to what we're expecting it to be. So there's certainly a vested interest on both sides here to make sure this is done right. I don't have a problem moving forward at this stage.
Do we, are they sticking with the tentative timeline that we were given as far as the road first by a certain time? And then,
If they close, yeah, they will get started on the road, and it should be done before it gets too cold. So sometime this fall will be done. That's
Alright.
that's what they're saying.
Fingers crossed, huh? All right.
I'd entertain a motion by somebody if they wish to.
Then I'll move to approve the partial release of real property declaration between the City of Painesville and the Minnesota Public Facilities Authority, and partial release of real property declaration between the City of Painesville, Minnesota deed, and State of Minnesota management and budget, and private road maintenance and access easement agreement between the City of Painesville and AMPI.
All right, there's a motion by Brick as stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, Chief Wagner on hiring a new officer.
Thank you. So back in May, June, we got an application for our open full-time police officer's position. At that time, we ran 2 rounds of interviews with Mr. Wells. Out of the second round with policies and procedures, he was advanced to the next stage, which was background, psychological, and physical. All of those items have been finished, and they are satisfactory for the hire. So we are recommending Mr. Wells be hired, and because of his extensive previous law enforcement service, we are asking that he be started at a step 3, 2 higher than our starting wage, which would be $33.13 an hour.
Having sat in on the interviews, I would agree that the step 3 would be an appropriate recommendation. And Mr. Wells is here tonight, so.
Yes, he is.
If there's further discussion, we can have that. Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion at this time.
I'll move to hire Corey Wells as a full-time police officer at $33.13 per hour. Police Department grades 9, step 3, effective immediately.
Motion by Brick is stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Potter. And just to clarify, Chief, this is budgeted for, right?
Yes. Yes, we are actually inside what we budgeted for. So,
I wanted to give you the opportunity to say that.
yes.
For the
We actually have an extra month and a half.
That's
Ah,
right.
good point.
No overtime. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right.
Welcome aboard.
Hello, sir. All right. Tarek, it looks like we've got a recommendation from Belinda to transfer some money.
Yep, this is for the FBO building. I mean, I think we did this before. Nothing too fancy here. It's really for the FBO building that we will be reimbursed for. I think much of it will be from the FAA.
Okay, so there's a recommendation to transfer $23,101 from the Airport Capital Improvement Fund to the Airport Fund to cover the city's share of this project. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Harrisburg. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Brick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, I will note, we're at 6:26. I think we can get through this next item, but we do have a 6:30 public hearing. We got Tarek received, and I'll just give the report on what we got, but it's a letter from Zach Nedwadny, and it reads as follows. To City of Painesville Administrator, my name is Zach Nedwadny, and I reside at 1005 Stearns Avenue. I received a citation for nuisance of hazardous material. After receiving the citation, which was given on a holiday weekend, I had attempted to contact Officer Adam, leaving multiple voicemails for a call back. I never received one. After calling and suggesting I contact the county, I received a phone call. After discussing with Adam, I feel this citation was wrongful and I have the ability to prove it. I would like to have the opportunity to plead my case. It has come to my attention that there is a procedure to be able to do so on the backside of the citation. Unfortunately, between trying to contact the officer and not knowing to read the back, I missed out on that opportunity. I would appreciate the ability to be placed on the agenda to discuss it. Again, I don't feel the citation was rightfully given for multiple valid reasons. I look forward to have citation and fees waived. Thank you, Zach Nedwadny. So Tarek received that, asked me what he thought we should do, and I suggested that the council as a whole decide whether or not we should grant Mr. Nedwadny the opportunity to present an untimely appeal. So that's why this is on here tonight. It's not to discuss the merits of the citation, it's whether or not he should be given the opportunity to challenge it. Tarek gave me a copy of the citation here. The back of it well, I mean, you can read it, but it's pretty bold. Read carefully. You have the right to an administrative hearing. If you wish to contest the ticket, please contact the Painesville Police Department by written notice within 7 days of the date of the violation to schedule a hearing. If you wish to admit to the administrative offense on the reverse of this notice, you must, with 15 days of its issuance, mail or bring the total of the penalty set forth on the reverse of this form together with this notice to Painesville City Hall. And then in a large black box, failure to pay. Failure to pay the penalty may result in the issuance of a complaint as authorized by law, and the violation shall be processed by the Stearns County District Court as provided for in Minnesota statutes. If anyone wants to take a look at this, I'll certainly pass it around. So I didn't feel comfortable just telling Tarek how to go forward. I didn't think that was appropriate. The city council has delegated the appeals to the Policies and Procedures Board. So the appeal of the citation would go there. But I thought it would make sense for the council as a whole to decide whether or not there might be cause to justify an exception to the appeal timeline.
And that's the real decision here, is just to decide on whether, because he missed a timeline, if you want to grant him that appeal.
And I will just say the reason, well, not only is this the right thing to do, but there have also been accusations that I have instructed the police department to issue citations for this property, and I am therefore staying well away from making any decisions whatsoever regarding it. On my own, that is.
It's not enough that you mess with the phone.
Paul?
City Hall.
Two things I will add. One, nobody has instructed the PD to write any tickets. That's not legal. Two, this particular notice and letter, I will let the council know, came in after Mr. Nedwadny received a letter advising him that he was delinquent in the payment of his citation, so he received a late fee associated with it. So it wasn't like this was a day or two after. This was an extended period of time between the time the citation to run its course for Missy to send out the letter for the postal service to deliver said letter, and then them to contact the city.
It would almost make sense to let policy and procedures scrub this out a little bit, see what they say.
Well, we're all here.
We're all here. Here's what I'll say. I don't want to cut anyone off. We're at 6:30. If there's a motion to be made, I'll take the motion. If we're not ready for a motion, then let's table this, have our public hearing, and come back.
Sounds good.
Okay. So at 6:30, we'll recess our business meeting. We'll open our public meeting regarding the Lewis Industries EDAP Business Subsidy public hearing. Tarek, I will turn it over to you, sir.
All right, as you know, we had a public hearing at the last council meeting for Lewis Industries tax abatement, and council is recommending it, and to my knowledge, it's also the county and the school district are considering this tax abatement, is that correct? But they haven't had their public hearing yet.
Recollection is that they were waiting for us from the
Yes.
last meeting, yep.
So now they will be scheduling theirs. In addition to the tax abatement, they also received 2 different programs from DEED, which will help support their expansion plan. And they came to the EDAP meeting requesting an EDAP loan for also support for the expansion project. The EDAP loan is at $300,000, 7-year term, straight line, regular loan at 4% interest is the recommendation. And as a result of that, and, you know, Sam is with us here, he can give more detail on the requirement, but of course, anything above 150 or 150 or above requires a public hearing. And then, yeah, I mean, that's really the gist of it.
And we don't have anything in our packet to approve tonight, is that right?
Well, that's another reason why Sam is here. We don't have anything to approve of it yet, because my understanding, and Sam jump in here afterwards, is we are doing the business subsidy agreement with the tax abatement agreement as one, and then also we're waiting on the county because the county wants us to be the, I guess, the administrator of this as well. Did I miss anything?
Mayor, members of the council, that's a good summary. The gist is that the county has to have its tax abatement hearing as well. If you recall, they are a party to that 2021 tax abatement and business subsidy agreement with Lewis. And what we've talked about with staff and the city's municipal advisor is basically amending that 2021 agreement to provide for the 2025 tax abatement and the other financial assistance that the city is providing. So tonight, we're talking about the loan that Tarek mentioned. You've already had the public hearing on the tax abatement, but what you'll eventually do is approve an amendment to that 2021 agreement that will add on the city's tax abatement and the county's tax abatement, but we kind of need to know where the county's at before we do that. And so they need to hold their public hearing. They need to identify the specific amount of tax abatement that they're going to provide Lewis. And essentially, we'll need the council to approve an agreement that kind of wraps all this up in a nice little bow. So they'll have the 4 different kinds of assistance that Tarek just mentioned, the city's tax abatement, the county's tax abatement, and then the 2 loan assistance from the state, as well as the EDAP loan. So tonight, what we're really just having the public hearing on that $300,000 loan. You should make sure to have an opportunity for anyone that's there to speak from the public to talk about it, but there is nothing to approve, and we'll have the tax abatement agreement to approve for the council at a future meeting once the county kind of gets its ducks in a row.
And you said essentially, are you just looking for a consensus from the council on what everything will look like?
Consensus, yes. I want to make sure that the council's comfortable with moving forward with kind of the basic structure of that specific loan. We've already had the public hearing on the tax abatement, but the other important piece is to provide any members of the public an opportunity to talk about the loan. And then I don't know if Lewis is there as well, but if they have a specific pitch or comments about that loan, they're welcome to speak as well.
Thank you. You can't see them, but they're sitting right behind you.
I figured they might be.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So Tarek, I just wanted to know, I'm trying to pull up the city's financial reports, but you likely know it roughly off the top of your head. What do we currently have in our EDAP loan fund?
The city's revolving loan fund is approximately $360,000.
So a $300,000 loan is going to eat the bulk of that because the township is not contributing on this one, is that right?
Yeah, the township declined to participate.
Okay, so then with that, how much do we have in our general EDAP fund?
Again, we have another 300 and some thousand. I'll pull it up.
And my understanding is that we can essentially lend money to ourselves from that EDAP fund into the loan fund, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So my thought, Neil's got it right there. Yep. So the revolving loan fund at 367, 729, and then the city's regular EDAP balance 294, 843.
Yep.
That's at the end of June. I would be in favor, and I know we've got another project potentially percolating through that might be substantial as well. It seems to me like a wise thing to do would be to take some money out of our EDAP fund that's not otherwise being utilized and lend that to our loan fund, which can then be paid back to the city and we can use the interest proceeds as revenue for other city needs. So I would be in favor of doing that, at least as a general principle. But any other questions for Tarek or Sam before I let representatives from Lewis and the public speak?
What was the township's reasoning for not involving themselves? Just we don't wanna? Or like, was there?
I can answer some of that.
Sure, go ahead.
So I think what I'd like to do is start with why this is a little bit unique and why
For the record, can you state your name though?
Oh, sorry, Lance Lewis, President and CEO of Lewis Industries. I think what I'd like to do is just give you a little history of why this is unique and the opportunity, what we're doing here, maybe laying some groundwork for all future EDAP loans that the city can provide. So the state deed department is the one who really headlines and starts these business expansion projects. And they have in place business subsidy agreements that make the loan really more advantageous just for the city of Paynesville to participate than the city and the township as tradition. And part of that is we're going to get $325,000 from deed. Tying that with $300,000 from Paynesville is a total of $625,000. And looking at it with the EDAP board, the $300,000 from the state, the city can keep $100,000 of that. So what a great way to help put more money in the EDAP coffers long-term without the city doing anything. So when in dealing with the EDAP, coming from one fund, going back to one fund was really what made a lot of sense since we're specifically located in the city of Paynesville. Yes, there's probably other economic development that's going to be coming down the pipeline. Their first primary development is going to be in the township, and then they can qualify for the same type of deed agreement with the state, with the township, and start doing that. So, anytime you get multiple entities involved, it gets more complex with each entity you get involved with. I think the moral of the story here is the big eye on the prize is if we all work together to do this, the city EDAP funds is going to increase by an additional $100,000 just for how we participate in doing this loan. No different than when we talked at the last public hearing with the tax abatement. There's no cost to the city, but the improvement of the city is more jobs, more business, et cetera. Same type of thing here. There's no cost to the city, in the future, there's going to be a greater EDAP fund available for other future business expansions. Did I confuse you all yet?
Makes sense to me.
Perfect.
Lance, is there anything else you wanted to tell us about the project or this? We've gone over it a bunch of times now, I know.
I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over and over again, but, you know, for everyone to hear kind of where we're at with this. Deed is signed off, Commissioner, I'm drawing a blank now, the governor didn't have to sign it, but the deed commissioner has signed it. So everything on the state end is locked and loaded, the tax abatement with the city is locked and loaded. I have not heard from Mike at the county when their official hearing is. I know they were trying to make sure they've got other parameters, but everything appears to be falling in place, and we're still looking at breaking ground in September. I guess any questions the council would have that we need to clarify is my big question.
Not hearing any? Thank you. Okay. Anything else you want to let us know? Otherwise, I'll ask if there's anybody from the public who wants to talk about whether or not we should issue this loan.
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks. Anything else for the public hearing? Just a thought that occurred to me is there's been a little bit of discussion about whether or not, if there is another economic development opportunity for a business in the township, if the city would participate. I am one vote of 5, but I would encourage us to participate as we have before. I think it's advantageous to support businesses in our area, even if they're not within the city limits, because they do have our support. So I want to continue the relationship that we've had. Do not want to lose it based on this. I don't harbor hard feelings about it, so I would encourage the rest of the council to as well. But anything else for the public hearing? Okay. Any thoughts from the council, since we're not going to be taking a vote on this, they're not going to be dealing with it anymore tonight? Is there anybody on the council opposed to us issuing this loan for the requested amount? I am not. I'm seeing tacit approval for everybody here. Sam, anything else you want from us? It looks like we've got the go-ahead.
Mayor, members of the council, I guess the only thing I'll add is that if you want to do a motion just reflecting that consensus, I see no real harm or risk to doing that, and then we just have a clear kind of reflection of the consensus. And obviously, again, you'll have to approve that tax abatement and business subsidy agreement at a future meeting, but I just offer that as a suggestion. I think the discussion has been enough for what the council needs to do here tonight, but if you want to sort of crystallize that in a specific motion, you're welcome to do that as well.
All right, thank you. So then with that, I'll close our public hearing. We'll go back into our business meeting. So the record reflects for our business meeting, we did meet in a public hearing to discuss the Lewis Industries loan. The council expressed a tacit approval of moving forward. Is there any member of the city council who wants to make a motion regarding our support for the loan requested by Lewis Industries?
Do we need to break down how much out of the funds?
No, I don't think we need to at this point. This is not giving the loan. It's just allowing the process to continue to move forward.
Then I'll make the motion to approve the EDAP loan for Lewis of $300,000.
There's a motion by Herzberg to signal our approval for the loan to Lewis Industries in the amount of $300,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Thielen. Any further discussion on that? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, going back into Mr. Nadwadny's request for an appeal. Pause for just a second. Thanks, guys, for being here to talk about that again. I'm sure we'll have another discussion in the future, but I think we're good to go, at least on this end for a while. So.
Beautiful, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so on the issue of the appeal, Megan, I think I apologize, you were in the middle of saying something and then I cut you off for time.
Odds are good. I mean, I guess looking at it, it's pretty clear that there is, you know, writing on the back, and that when you get something like this and there's a lot of writing on the back and it says read carefully in large capital letters at the top, that you should probably do that. And however, I know that sometimes it is difficult for me, I don't know, I don't speak for the rest of you, but to separate the current issue from past issues. And I want to try to do that. I want to try to be fair. I know that there have been a lot of citations, there have been a lot of issues. But I also kind of want to look at it as how would I feel if it were someone that the city had never had any citations towards before? How would I feel about it then? Again, I do feel it's pretty black and white, literally, I guess black and pinky colored. But accidents happen, mistakes happen, and if there were a citation that were issued in error, I'd kind of want to know about it. So I say, give them a chance to come tell P&P about it and see where it goes. That's just my feeling on it personally.
Well, because this is something that, by operation of our ordinance, would move forward on its own without council intervention, I would just say that no motion tonight would just be the same as leaving it as is. So the motion would be to grant the appeal, and if nobody makes that motion, or if that motion fails, then it stays as is. Is there any further discussion? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
I will,
Lack of a motion, yeah.
I would like to just point out the absolute bad precedents this will set.
I'm sorry, the what?
The bad precedents this will set.
Yes.
Whether this is a first-time offender or a multiple-time offender, if we open this door, you won't be able to close it, and it will open it up so that anybody can contest any of the city-issued citations at any point in the process, including after they have failed to pay their fine and receive their late notices.
Well, I do understand that. I mean, I really do, but I also would like to set the precedent that if, you know, that we're going to listen if you have a serious issue.
How long are we talking, Paul?
As far as,
From issuance to late notice to request?
oh, you're probably at least a month.
Okay.
Because if I remember right, he's talking about a holiday weekend, which would have put this at the beginning of July. So we're talking well over a month.
And this has not been paid yet.
No. And my officers were communicating with them and attempted to get a hold of him multiple times during that window. He will admit that he has had phone issues, and those phone issues potentially precluded him from getting the phone calls from my officer. They know how to get a hold of us if they want to talk to us.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree with Paul. I think if we were a few days and there was a phone issue, okay. And I agree with you, Megan, that I don't want to look at this as, you know, just a rehash, but also that does inform, you know, past experience informs people's knowledge of how to appeal the process.
That's true. But I just don't recall this particular situation having happened with them. I could be wrong, but where they got a formal citation and appealed it, I don't recall that. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Well, I will entertain a motion if somebody wants to make it, otherwise we will move forward.
I move that we grant them the opportunity to appeal.
Motion by Brick to allow the opportunity for an appeal. Is there a second? Going once, going twice. Motion dies for lack of a second. Therefore, the request for an appeal is denied by operation of default, I suppose. And we move forward to our next item here, which is the chain link fence from Wells. Dan?
The city received a grant to put cameras up around their wells by Yankee Park. That allowed us to take the chain link fence down. We did that. We have it rolled up. piled up on a trailer by our shop. City doesn't really have a use for it, the poles still have concrete on them and stuff. Request to surplus it.
Can we use it to expand the dog park?
That was gonna be my question.
What? And we had a discussion on that, and no. Neil said by the time you put a used chain link fence up, it would look like he did it.
You didn't
There's
have
not
to.
really enough length there to be productive.
I'm only asking because I feel like there have been people in the community who, well, first of all, there are many people who are not satisfied with our current dog park, myself among them. But I feel like there have also been a person or two in the community who have felt that that was the dog park and were confused when it was locked. So I just thought maybe we should go ahead and do that. But yeah, I trust you when you say it's not usable.
I have a question, John.
Yeah.
Dan, is there enough of that fence to do one of two things? One, fence in the backside of the new shop, because I do know that people have a tendency to want to drive through where your new shop is to kind of block that off. And two, if not, is there enough fence to potentially create more of an impound storage area so when we have some of the car overflow and it doesn't fit in the garage?
Build an impound storage area where?
I didn't get to that point, I don't know. I'm just curious if it can be
You
repurposed.
can certainly have it.
Sounds good, so I'll make a motion to transfer the fence to the police department. Store it in Paul's office.
Make it their issue.
With the cement base too.
I just didn't know, because like I said, I know, specifically on the backside of the new shop area, I know people have a tendency to drive through there. We've had issues with people driving through, stealing some of the scrap that's back there. Obviously, that would create a deterrent. It'd also kind of fence off some of that space for the, to keep people out of that area, potentially for the city, but.
There's enough fence for that, yes.
Just asking the question.
Do you want it for that?
Sounds like Paul does.
Neil, you had a comment for the.
It's not Paul's birthday, it's Neil's. You decide.
It's, it possibly could be used for something like that where you don't see it. Like Dan said earlier, if you put it up in the park, it's probably gonna be an eyesore because you can't get it tight like a fencing company does and have it look nice.
We can hold on to it until we get it moved into the new building and reassess it. If it's sitting on an old trailer, it can sit there for as long as it needs.
Do you have any idea how much you'd be able to get for it?
Not much.
Not
Right.
much.
I'd say we table it till the next meeting and let the police and Public Works decide if it's gonna work or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna take longer than the next meeting, but I agree with you, Paul, I think, let's just wait and see. But I'd hate to be here in 6 months or next spring and have you go, oh, we really should put a fence up back there. Here's a quote for $5,000 for a new fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this won't work, I don't know, but.
It certainly won't hurt to wait.
Get room to hold on to it for now, just do it.
All right, so then nothing happens on this for right now. All right, this is on our update as well, but the purchase of AMI equipment and contract with Meeker Co-op. Dan?
The city has been moving towards AMI for quite a while. We have the system out at all the housing. This would be the last piece. We would put a reader out on the monopole out at our water tower. The monopole pole is owned by Meeker County Co-op, but it's on city land. So part of what you see there is the price to purchase the unit, the reader to put on the pole, and the other part is the agreement with Meeker to install the pole at their cost. We pay the cost for the installation, and then the agreement to have our equipment on their pole. So that was reviewed, the agreement was reviewed by their lawyers and our lawyer, Sam, went through it and gave final approval. And that's why he kind of came in late, because we had to go back and forth a little bit with the lawyers. But this would be the last piece, so then all the meters could be read from City Hall. And Public Works Board made a recommendation to approve. And this one would come out of the water and sewer capital funds, where I heard before.
I mean, as long as the resolution isn't that all lawyers are terrible, I'm fine with what's presented here.
Sam's right there, he wrote and helped write it.
It's a pretty straightforward agreement.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I don't like spending it, but this will save time and energy on running meters and things.
Yes, instead of driving around and going out and doing rereads, Kristen can do it all from her desk. And this is something that was budgeted for before I arrived.
So the recommendation from Public Works and from staff is to move forward with the FlexNav Lite 2025 system. Is there a motion on this?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Hersberg to approve as stated on the action sheet. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Thielen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right. Then on page 55, C1 Central Downtown District. Tara, anything you want us to know? Otherwise, there's a recommendation that we hold a public hearing with the planning board on September 15th. And that's what we'd be setting tonight.
Okay, yeah, at the planning meeting, there was a discussion and a recommendation from the ad hoc downtown committee to make apartments in the downtown area change it from a permitted use to a, requiring a permit. So, the planning board had a discussion on it, and they felt that they would like to hear from the public first before they decide on it. The recommendation in front of you today, and I know Bill is here and Paul is here. Paul made the motion actually to do the public hearing, but they might be able to answer anything else you have. Otherwise, all we're asking for now is to set a joint public hearing between council and the planning board. And it's set for the next planning board meeting, September 15th, I believe.
As I understand this, if we say no, planning is going to go forward with their own meeting on their own, but they're inviting us to participate. Is that right?
That's a Paul question.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we've done joint meetings before. I think they've worked well. I'm up for another one. Anyone? Bueller?
Check my daily.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brick to schedule a joint city council public planning board meeting for the 15th at 6:05 PM. Is there a second while Neil checks his calendar?
Second.
Second by Phelan. Any further discussion? Hopefully we can all make it. If not, we'll go forward with who's there. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, then we've got some police reports in our packet, along with the month-end reports that are all available on the city's website as well. But there's no further business. We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.